Greetings, everyone. My apologies running late today. Thank you for being here. In case you don't know who I am, I will begin introductions, but meanwhile, let me know if you can hear me and see me. I am Aurora. I am the founder of A.U.R.A, Hypnosis Healing, and I am the channel to the Galactics, as well as I am the author to Galactic Soul History of the Universe. Here, 740 pages worth of Galactic Soul History of Souls, where they tell the story of the universe. In case you haven't checked that out, go on Amazon. You get the first 2.5 chapters for free, and you can read the first chapter and your world will be transformed. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Waiting for you all to confirm that you can hear me and see me good. You can find more information about me under risingphoenixaurora.com, my website, as well as to support these videos, you can go under Patreon to support them as well. We are having a online live online workshop for A.U.R.A hypnosis, as well as raw Reiki healing that helps be where you become the bridge to help others be self-healers of themselves in removing and transmuting negative energy. Oh, good. You can hear me. Thank you, Ashley. Removing a negative and artificial within you that is not part organically yours. So we'd love to see you there. We begin, last day to sign up for that is actually Monday, March 1st, because it begins March 7th and you have homework to do. So I hope to see you there. So let's continue on since we got the confirmation. Thank you. Whew. It took me a minute to get on. I was feeling a bit more fierce than usual. So I was like, to ground a little bit. To ground a little bit. This topic is a very meaningful topic to me, as that's one of the reasons why I'm here. I'm here in service to others and help people release themselves from entrapment, whether that's entrapment self-imposed or entrapment from other forms. That's what I'm here to do. So I felt a great fire that we needed to tone down a bit before we came on. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So if you haven't had a chance to write questions down, today's topic is the matrix releasement from entrapment. Okay. And if you haven't had a chance to write the questions, go ahead, either on our Facebook Live or our Patreon post, our Facebook event, or our Patreon post. Then you can write your questions here. And you can hear in the comments. I would love to be able to answer them. Okay. Beautiful. So write them there. Write question right before. We have Minnie in chat who is keeping track of these questions. So let's do this. Let's have some fun today and let's awaken further, ascend our consciousness further, release entrapments that are false within our organic paradigm, our organic blueprint of Mother Earth. Well, one more thing, which is pretty exciting. The podcast that I did with Laura Eisenhower, where we went through the galactic history and alien races, and it is an immense of knowledge and wisdom. That is going to be available under my website. You guys can purchase it there. So just letting you know, it should be up by tomorrow. That is a mind-blowing class that Laura and I put together. And you're going to, amazing. Okay, so you can sign up for that, purchase that under my website by tomorrow. Okay, beautiful. So yes, so the first thing I wanted to go over was there is a chapter in the book which basically leads to this specific topic. And for those of you who watched the Aura regression that was posted yesterday under our YouTube channel here, that is of the ascended Earth, the future Earth, that Aura regression. You realize that she talked a lot of wisdom, her higher self talked a lot of wisdom about how to release ourselves from entrapment in many different forms. So this is a theme. Every time we're about to do a live, there's usually a matching Aura regression that the client has no idea, and it always aligns exactly what we're about to talk about. So there's a specific chapter in the book, Galactic Soul History of the Universe, that I want to go over with you all, because this is part of releasing ourselves from the entrapment. Okay. Now it is, in case you have the book, it is chapter 31, Looking Glass Technology. Okay. And I want to read a specific phrase that this beautiful soul said once she came to after her session. We dialogue right after the session, and something she said is this is so important to us in this time and space, because this is how they've kept us entrapped in many, many different forms, through many forms of false programs, false downloads, false belief systems that are not even organically our universes, right? Okay. So in this part, I'll cut it short. This is page 587. I was explaining to her how phenomenal her session was, and how it really, this session in particular, explained to us, how did the archons come in? How does that happen? If they're not from our universe, they're not of light and our specific source of love light, then how did they enter? So this chapter is fundamental because it explains how that happens and how they did it. Now, something that she says is really important here when she comes to, because when you're in there, they give you a lot of information, even information that you're talking, but some of it you don't get to express all of it. So often after you're like, oh yes, that's right, they told me this, but I couldn't articulate all of it within, say, that 2-hour span that they're in. And then afterwards, you continue to get integrations and downloads. So what she said was, so I was thanking her for such a phenomenal session, and I was explaining to her how basically many light workers in that time and space, and this was recorded in 2019 at some point, I believe, or maybe 2020. Let me see. So I was explaining to her how we've been programmed to not believe, July 2020, this was recorded, to not believe that there's actually negative entities out there in many forms in the Lightworker community, and how this is really holding us back from not realizing that actually why you volunteered to come in here into the inverted matrix, into the artificial matrix, was because there is negative entities that were holding this collective down. So everyone volunteered, a good amount, not everyone, a large amount of Starseeds volunteered to come here to Earth to assist these beings, these our brethren here that were stuck, because they themselves were entrapped in many forms, by the archons and the entities. So then they come in, and then they start brainwashing us to make us feel that they're not real, we shouldn't shield, all these ridiculous things, right? So when they do that, they give us false downloads. We talk about this in our YouTube channel. So everything we talk about, we try to make it different. This is a different one. So if you have not watched Galactic Update, You Are the Deadliest Weapon, you probably want to stop the video right now and go back and watch it, or you could watch it after so you could understand what we're talking about, because it's kind of a extension of that. Okay, so, and I'm thanking her because this information is very fundamental, because it puts the pieces of the puzzle together along with some of these sessions here. Okay. So, and then, so I'm thanking her, explaining this, how there's many false programming going on, right? And it also is holding us back, keeping, people don't realize this, so long as we don't realize that there is these negative entities out there, children are suffering, like the pedophilia, because we're not standing up to what we were supposed to be, the light warriors that we were supposed to be, and stopping the infringement upon these children. And I can tell you it's going to be in future literature. However, we're not the only planet that they are doing these children to. There are, since there is no time and space, I've had sessions where they go into planetary spheres that are 8th dimensional, 7th dimensional, different dimensions. And they basically took the archons, they took the reptilians, they compromised them. Now they're just kind of like their video game character that they wheeled around with the nunchuck. And what they did is that when they start controlling them and controlling their consciousness, because the reptilian is organic to our universe, they can do this to them once they agree, right? Once they get recruited. And again, in the book, there's 4 sessions in the book that tells you the story of what a reptilian archon recruit has to go through. So because they did that, they're able to, these reptilians, they're able to go to planetary spheres that they normally can't go to. And in this specific planetary sphere, this one that they showed me, they were stealing children. And they were these beautiful crystalline children, and they were taking them because they wanted them by a certain age, even though there isn't quite an age, but there was a somewhat age bracket that they needed them by. They were taking the children. So they go through and they do that. So the fact that we are here in the inverted matrix, we talked about this in our recent Patreon class, the Isis Priestess course. So we talked about how the fact that we are here and that since we are at the lowest density of the 3D, okay, and there's all these multitudes of alien races that are here on Earth, right? There's Arcturians, Lyrans, Syrians, Andromedan, Phoenix constellation, Orion constellation. There's all these different beings that are us. Basically, we're in these vessels, but the vessels are an illusion. We're really these, the starseeds are really, the majority. They're all pieces of all these beings that we were before we volunteered to come in here, right? So when we came in here, we needed to match that 3-dimensional vibration, right? So because before the archons came in and we were the multitude, so this is matrix information, when we were organic matrix, and then we had all these different races into one planet. This was before the starseeds started coming in. This is right, you could say, when the archons started coming into the universe, our universe, and infringing on it. So because there is a multitude of races here, then they became stuck by this false ego, false consciousness that we had no idea what this was, because again, it wasn't organic to our universe. And there was multitude of races. What happened is that because it regressed at the lowest dimension, which was a 5D then, and then there's multiple races, what happened was that it digressed, it descended in an energy the entire universe. You guys understand? So because there was a Lyran here, because there was an Arcturian here, because there was a crystalline being here, there was these different races, and they became stuck here in the 5D, but changed to the 3D. They became the density of the universe. So when they became the density, then also their races became the density, because they truly were a Lyran race, a Arcturian race, and they basically, that was the way that they got to this universe, because the multitude of races were here in this beautiful, beautiful creation that we created together to be together. Okay. If you want more matrix information, that in chapters, one of the last chapters in the book, it goes through that presentation so you can understand this further. Okay. So then that made us like the cork stuck in the drain of water. Okay. And then it pulled down the entire universe. So this is why it's so hard to be here, so intense to be here. All these different challenges, someone always trying to perhaps, drift you another way. But if you're standing in your sovereignty and you're organic, you're able to see through these things, right? Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm glad Lava said you explained it. Fantastic. Okay, good. All right, so we understand that. So let's move on from that. Okay, so that's how they entrapped, basically, the universe, even though we don't believe we're entrapped, but they think. They used and then of course, then we just kept becoming more of a built-up of density, repeated simulation of the matrix, and became extremely stuck here, right? Because we became heavier and heavier, and we kept forgetting. The amnesia became denser and denser with every rebirth and rebirth. Okay. So one of the things that is huge that is holding us back within the Lightworker community of the awakened, because even in the unawakened, there's people, like we explained, there's awakened, unawakened, and awakening people, right? So even in the unawakened, there's still a vast amount of light, because there's still beautiful people there who are pure, who don't mean harm to anyone, but still are evolving in consciousness to be able to finally shift and awaken like us. So it's such a beautiful gift for us to be here in comparison, I guess, to them. Not that there's a comparison, but I'm just using the English language that we have here. So I'm channeling all this as I'm trying to articulate every word. Okay, so from the Galactics. Okay, so now, so I was thanking her, right? So back to the book. So I was thanking her for bringing this information, because the fact that we don't realize that we're this artificial consciousness, it's not consciousness, artificial intelligence came and is messing with our universe. And the fact that we don't see it is the fact that we can't release it. Because if you are in a cage and the bars around you are invisible, you don't know that the bars are there. How are you going to break, say, those bars out, or open up those bars, or open up the door that comes out of that cage? You need to know what's actually there, so you can break free from it, transmute it, and say you do not consent to it, right? Okay. So yes, the biggest thing is that people were not, even if they were being told about it, they're not acknowledging it, and they're saying, no, that's not part of my belief system. No, I don't believe in that. But the minute that they do that, what they don't realize is that they're allowing for the archons to even more so control them, because they're not acknowledging them. Let me fix that. What is the word? They're not being aware to it. So then the archon will continue to mess with them, because they're saying, it's kind of like the Harry Potter scene where Harry, is the only one that can say Voldemort, and everybody's like, oh, don't say that, and then in reality, they're the ones that are being fearful, because he's the only one that's brave enough to say Voldemort has been, trying to run this place and causing havoc to all these families and killing wizards and all that, right? He's the only one to able to do that. So the fact that we're not doing it here, it holds back the light worker, the light of that collective of light workers awaken. Okay, so we need to be strong, like, say, Harry Potter, and say Voldemort if we want to, and know that this entity, Voldemort, archons, cannot harm us. You understand? Okay. Thank you. You're beautiful too. Okay. All right. Somebody asked, are the Arcturians positive polarized? They're positive or negative? They're positive. Now, remember, they're entities that sometimes pretend, oh, yes, negative entities. I am an Arcturian. If you don't shield, if you don't set intentions, an entity can trick you and be like, give you false visions and make you feel. But let's stick with this, though. Okay, so I'm thanking her about that, what I just mentioned. And then she says, yes, I felt like when you were asking the question about planet Earth, it was like the karmic wheel thing was so strong here. The belief system of that exists, so therefore it exists here. But it doesn't actually exist in other places. It was the sense that it's become part of the earth. It was never part of the earth when originally it was created. That was my feeling, and that it was something that became distorted. It's another distortion. It's been thousands of years of this distortion, and now we're trapped in it in our own matrix. So I think she said karma, but what she meant was specifically karmic wheel. That is a form to understand it. But there is not quite a word for balance in this universe, where obviously you can't go around killing people, because then there always has to be, let's call it a harmonic energy balance, not karmic. Harmonic energy. Let's call it that. I like that better. So with her is that because we believed that, what she's explaining here again, because we believed that we were in this constant cycle of repeated karmic wheel, because we believe it, it's why it is here. Okay, so let me explain that to you. So many different forms add on to this specific statement. So for example, so you could understand what I'm saying. Okay, and again, I'm not saying that obviously you shouldn't harm anyone in any form, because there must always be a balance. And what you give, you receive back. Okay, so this is a different way to understand this, as there's many forms to understand even one concept. Okay, so because we believe that we are part of this is why we are here. But they tricked us in our belief systems and our programming. For example, I was talking to someone recently, and they were explaining to me how there was this book that they had read, and I don't know anything about this book. As you all know, I don't read others' books. Except for at the beginning, I read Dolores Cannon, a few books, but right now I don't, because we want to ensure that the information channels through purely through heart. And they were saying, oh, I read in this book that was all about archons, and this book said that the reason why we are here is because Divine Mother wanted to express herself in a shadow, her shadow version. First of all, the minute they said that, I felt my stomach drop to the bottom, and I was like, and I know that that's archonic. I mean, you can feel that, okay? So there's that belief of entrapment. So if you actually, for example, read this book and then you believe all this that you read and you downloaded into you, and then you believe that we are here because our mother, which keep in mind, mother, divine mother of creation, is the most infinite love in all creation. She is infinite love. So explain to me how infinite love as divine mother would want to experience herself as shadow when she is infinite love. Why would she want to do that? First of all, though, this is where this person, whoever wrote this information, went wrong. Archons are not shadow. Archons are not darkness. They're artificial. So within our universe, we have organic darkness, organic light. So if this person really was trying to say that mother wanted to experience shadow, then that makes no sense, because our archons are not shadow. No, they're not organic darkness. They're not organic shadows or shadows. They are artificial, in absence of light, in absence of organic. Do you understand? Okay. Someone put, basically man trapped himself in his own matrix by allowing AI to infiltrate. Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what we're saying. So we challenge you. Everything that you might hear, everything you might learn, throughout your life, don't believe it just because someone tells you. Elohim Arcturus said, I love my darkness too. Many ignore their darkness. No, our darkness is beautiful. It's where we travel in infinity potentials, and where we travel to create stars. And it's beautiful. But again, remember, the archons came in and made us afraid of the darkness and the shadow. It is where stars are born, the darkness, okay? So, in other words, then, they put blame on mother. Mother is the creator. Divine Mother is the creator of the universe. So what do you think happens if we start blaming mother, who birthed creation with Divine Father, and at unity, they're source, right? They're both. When they join together, they're both. But if this person was splitting off mother, was talking about her individualized through this book, right? Then all her creations are going to be entrapped within their own belief system. You guys understand that? And that is not okay. 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 All right. So let's see if there's anything else to this. And something else she said here. She said, and then at that point I agreed with her, and I told her, yes, it's because we believe of our entrapments in many forms, whether it's we believe that Mother, brought us here. I mean, well, whether we believe that Mother is the one that brought on the archons, which obviously she did not. The archons want you to believe that. So that is a form of entrapment. And then she said, yes, because that sense of the only thing that exists is just existence. Truth is the only thing that actually exists anywhere. So through truth is oneness. It's everything. There's nothing false about truth. So there is no infringement on truth. It just is. Every time when you asked about how I looked, we were asking about how she looked, how she dressed, there was nothing about that. There was just a strong sense of absolute truth, purity, and oneness. That's what we're here to discover, to expand ourselves about truth seekers. We're here to bring out the truth and eradicate, transmute, remove the false archon entrapment belief systems. Another thing that I heard from this one person I was talking to, they were saying that that it is a belief, it's believed that Isis, Divine Mother Isis, in her time, she did some kind of black magic and chopped up her twin flame Osiris, and then his penis did some kind of black magic with his penis. And I will be honest with you all, these are spiritual leaders that you're listening to that believe this stuff. So then when they believe this stuff, what do you think happens? All their listeners are going to have a vibratory match to that. Okay. So do you really believe Divine Mother would do that to her own twin flame when she incarnated? Absolutely not. There's no way. So, but what? Let's go into that. And it's entrapment there, because another trap there. So someone says this, and then they got thousands of people believing, oh my God, Isis, Divine Mother Isis is negative. So now they believe that system where Divine Mother would do that to her own Divine Father. And remember, all fractals are from Divine Mother, Divine Father, universal source. So then, what do you think will happen to the twin flame union when you believe that? It caused a separation to believe that the highest aspect of us, of Divine Mother and Father, has done this to their own twin flame. Is going to cause all sorts of oppression, delusion, falseness, destruction, separation within the twin flame unions of the earth or of the universe as well, but specifically this earth. Because they don't want twin flames to get together. They don't want them to get together, because what happens when twin flames get together, they activate one another. The one that holds the stronger light will activate the other one, just like you heard in the Aura regression yesterday. So that one, the one with the stronger light that is more, say, advanced in light, will lift, and then they will lift the next ladder. They lift, and then the next ladder. So they don't want people to activate. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's see what questions you all have. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Okay. All right. Drink some water. It's time for us to release those shackles and those false belief systems, because they claim they made everything opposite. They made shielding fear-based. In actuality, shielding is empowerment and sovereignty. They made everything backwards. So then we believe that if we talk about these things, that we can bring on negative law of attraction. No. You talk about it, you talk about it, you stand in strength and awareness of it, then you will shift all forms within your life and your loved ones in all forms. And it is beautiful to be free, to be able to spread your wings and not to be limited to false entrapments. Okay, so let's see what questions you all have as in regards to this topic. Number one question is, there is a group that channels. Well, I won't say who, but they are saying that the V is safe. I don't have any doubt, but I'm concerned the viewers will be more willing to consent. Well, you already know the answer to that. There's absolutely no way that the V is safe. We talked about it in other videos. That would be an archon downloading whatever this collective is, whoever's channeling them. This collective is archonic or negative entity, and they are trying to convince whoever's listening that, yes, go ahead and insert that V into you so that we can make you more artificial. You won't be a pure organic soul. You will be a bit of a hybrid, you can say, like the reptilians, where you're going to have artificial in you. Okay. Next question. Is Gaia a prison planet? I have heard the only way to leave the matrix and not have to reincarnate is by waking up and breaking our soul contracts, including those from past incarnations. I want to return home. I'm stuck in a reincarnation loop. So it's not a prison planet. It's the fact that we believe that it's an imprisonment and an entrapment, that it has become an entrapment and an imprisonment. You understand? Just like what was said in the book. It's the fact that we believe it. So when we realize that, okay, maybe they have not consently entrapped humanity here for some time. They've done this, but now we know. So once we're in awareness, it cannot be, because we free ourselves, right? Just like we talked about it earlier. So once you recognize that, no, actually there's sacred laws of the universe, that I am free-willed, I am free-willed to express myself in many forms. Once you realize all these different sacred laws, which we talk about, the 13 laws, sacred laws of the universe, and you memorize them and you know them and you express them in all forms that you live throughout your life, whether you're walking, talking, eating, and you express your sovereign abilities and your sovereign, then you completely release yourself from an entrapment. And then that's when you start walking that organic timeline that we talk about with the 2/3 world split. If you haven't seen that video, you want to see it. 2/3 world split, where we're walking the organic matrix timeline versus the artificial matrix. Okay, where we're the weirders and creators of our destiny and everything. Okay. So yes, you do. That's what we talk about. You have to do inner work. You do have to, if you want to release out from here, you need to learn all your lessons that you were here to begin with, why you came into the school to learn, and acknowledge them, learn them, and then release and grow out from them, expand out from them. Okay. And then as far as soul contracts, yeah, there's negative contracts that the archons like to make when you most of the time are unconscious to them. So figuring those out and releasing yourself from them, all it takes is your higher self in unity with any archangel that you feel comfortable with, any benevolent being that you feel comfortable with, as far as a galactic soul family that you may be from. These guides, you work with them with your higher self, and they can remove these contracts for you very easily. They can, but you have to acknowledge the lesson, take responsibility for it, and then remove it. Yes. No, you want to return home. But just the fact that you are here, or that you are overall awakened and are listening to any of these types of information, already has told you you do return home. Okay. All right. Next question. I haven't read these, so let's see. Okay. This one says, there is a channel that is very highly respected and known to you, Aurora, that said on a video that she has to unteach her students about chakras because they do not exist. It is something we are taught here. Is this true? Yeah, I don't know who that is, but that's a, yeah. Okay, so in order for us to come here, we have our 7 major glands. You can look it up. Type in 7 major glands, search it. There's different glands like the thyroid gland, the pituitary gland, all these different glands that actually connect to the 7 chakras. These organs are connected directly to your 7 chakra meridians. We need our chakras because they're connected to our organs. Even if we look at the sacral chakra, it's connected to our womb. So are you going to not use the meridian, the funnel of source energy that flows through your sacral chakra for your womb to create and manifest for yourself and whatever it is? Just like mother who carries womb and makes life within her womb, we make life, we create in all forms of all our existence through our sacral chakra, our womb. So I'm sure you could imagine if you were to distort that, remove that, then what's going to happen to the funnel of energy and meridian that's going to be connected to the sacral chakra, to your womb? That is another form to distort you, and it basically will imbalance you. I have had sessions where people came to me and they had went to a healer that removed all their chakras, and they told them, all you need is your crown and your heart, and then they stuffed them into. So what happened when they did that is that the heart chakra was on overload because they imbalanced all their chakra system. And they said in the session that the guy was going to have a heart attack because all the vortexes of source rainbow energy were almost all coming out of the heart. Do you understand? So you need your rainbow. Everyone's a rainbow of chakras. You need them. They balance you out. They heal you. Learn to love them and work with them. That's a form of entrapment. Because say they release your third eye chakra. Your third eye, you travel throughout time and space with it. You connect to your higher self. You travel to the past selves of you. You're going to limit yourself in all these forms. And then you're going to put your system, your energetic system, on overload. That overload that is going to that can affect you in many different ways, energetically and in health-wise. Okay. All right. Next one. What can you say to those who have family members die or deathly from C? This person recently had family hospitalized and a friend that lost a son and son-in-law 2 days apart. But my belief systems are still the same and I do not fear it. Okay. So the question is, did they really pass away from that, or were their records falsified? And were they tricked into it? And the majority of the time, that would be it. Now, the other thing is, it's beautiful that your belief systems still are strong, is that it is a flu. It's a nanovirus created, right? We know already by who. So if the person is perhaps, I don't want to use this example because I feel like this is personal. So I'm going to use a general example. Okay. So if the person has a low immune system, if the person has agreed to it in some form to allow this virus to end their life, but of course we know there's always rebirth, then it could be, what if they really believe that that the virus is deadly? Then they will manifest and create that for themselves because they really believe in that false entrapment, that false paradigm, that false inverted matrix. So then they can create it for themselves as well. So yeah, there's many answers to that. And what I can tell you is personally, I know no one. And everyone that I've talked to directly face to face doesn't know anyone that passed away as well from COVID. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next question. During the election times, there were channelers likening we'll call him T, to be negatively polarized. There were channelers likening T to be negative polarized. That doesn't make sense. Let me see if I can figure this out. Election times, there were, and that he was childish and not giving up his role, while B and K, the saviors from him, and a great welcome change. There was channelers talking about this. Come on, man. The B guy is literally saying how he likes for children to sit on his lap. Can that be any clearer? So you want to question this channeled information. If they're getting this, what else could be false and is trying to infringe upon your belief system? Yeah. T did exactly what he needed to do and change and awaken us in many forms. And in many forms, he did bring this world together. People that we didn't even realize that could possibly be T supporters, like different religions. Like a lot of Christians, I realized were, like I had said that about a month ago about this Christian man that was a T supporter. And, and he did exactly what he needed to do for us. And as we know, we did elect him. So, so to that is what I can tell you is that channeler would be within an archonic inverted matrix to believe that B is the quote unquote savior. That's basically means that they're a matching vibration to that belief system. You understand? Okay. So next question is, how can we break out of the matrix financial? I feel so tied down to my finances. How does one provide outside that and getting stuck there? So one of the things that T did was really beautiful. He really was an entrepreneur, and he really encouraged people to have their own businesses. Do you all realize that, how freeing that is to have your own business, whatever it is, whether it's making jewelry, something that you love, whatever it is. And it also encouraged people basically, because once you become the owner of your own environment, now I understand that not everyone can do this, but the potentials are there. There's many ways that you can create a job that it could be something that you're creating from your heart. And so long as you create it with your heart, then the abundance will always come from it. But it's hard, I know, in this inverted matrix that we are constantly trying to steer away from, because the money, and we worry about that, the lack of abundance of money and finances. So that is really hard. How do you follow your heart and create perhaps something you're gonna love, but then not have to worry about, what if I don't provide for my family? It's a very hard situation that we're, stuck in between. Now, what I can tell you is, back to T and how he would encourage for people to have their businesses and entrepreneurs. What is really important about that is that when you become this, you become free-willed completely. Basically, you don't have an owner to you. You don't have a boss to you. You don't have to answer to anyone. that in itself, you step into the strongest sovereignty and free will. Do you all ever think about that? So that is something that you can think about and create and manifest and just know that the universe will always take care of you. Think about all the times in your life and you had situations that you felt stuck in a corner, but then somehow you got out of it. You will always come out of it. Follow your heart. And so long as you create from your heart, the vibration of what will return from that will be heart, and it will be a beautiful abundance. Now, understanding that you are your creator being, you're in charge. This is just advice and guidance that we give. Okay. Next question. Yes, I have an important question regarding breaking free from the now defunct the United States Corporation. I have seen several videos of the late about changing political status to American state national, assuming the designation by choice as an American state citizen, American State Assembly. This would free an individual from the corporation of the United States. Do you know anything of this? I can speak of it in any way. I do not. My apologies. I do not know any of this, but it actually goes very much in alignment with what I just answered about being your own boss. Okay, next question. Just a question about discernment of those in the public eye. What are the true natures, positive or negative, of admirer personalities such as, I'm not going to say these names. And this person's asking, who do we need to look out for? I can't say these names because that's not who I am about. But I am just here as a bridge to help you heart discern all that you will agree to become part of your belief system. And this video is all about you stepping into your power, sovereignty, and you learning to read about ways that there is entrapment, because you will only be entrapped so long as you believe you're entrapped. Okay. Next question. I feel many of the famous light workers and loved celebrities who are apparently for us are controlled by the archons and are infiltrating our community. Is this true? It is true. I had a recent session, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to share this, but there was some, we'll see if it does get shared in the future, if it's possible. But I will share this part with you. I had a recent A.U.R.A hypnosis where the client went in beautifully, and then her higher self was talking. And then when she was young, she was in this religion called, I don't know how to say it, Apostle, I don't know, something like that. Okay. Christianity, something like Pentecostal Christianity. Okay, let me know if you guys know how to say that or spell it out. Okay, but okay, so she was in that religion. I hope I make you guys laugh when I can't. I don't know these names. Okay, but yeah, so she said that when I think she was 12. She might have been 12. So Pentecostal. Thank you. That's the word. Okay. She had this, I don't think they call him preacher, but we're going to go with, yeah, it's Pentecostal. Kind of like a priest, but not a priest in their religion. And he was very much a clear channel. He was an enlightened being. And he was, he took the book of Revelation and he explained to these children back then. They went through, and I don't know how long they did it, but they went through and they deciphered it all. And he explained how the Catholic Church was actually Antichrist. which, as we know, there's the Vatican and their pedophilia and all that stuff that they're doing, right? So he explained to them, and through the book of Revelation, and how they were the Antichrist, and he went explain, say, phrase per phrase, the Bible numbers. What is that? He went and explained each literature, and how basically then the Catholic Church had taken it and made it Antichrist, basically demonic. Okay. So then we asked about it, about this phenomenal experience she had, because that really awakened her to realizing, wow, this is possible. Like there is like these demonic beings. There is like, falseness in religion, or even falseness in many things. And, he really shifted her consciousness and awakened her, right? So then they said, we asked about him, and, we brought up the subject, and then the higher self all of a sudden said, well, actually, what happened shortly after he channeled this information to the children and helped them realize how such an expansion, right, activate them full tremendously, he was targeted by archons and they compromised him. So think about that for a second. So that answers that question. Okay, you guys understand that? So because he went in and transformed something that was distorted into something, making it so beautiful and so awakening in awareness, in releasing entrapment, then the archons targeted him with, say, obstacles in his way. Probably didn't know quite what archons were, or what, get the hang of it. And then they compromised him, and he was never able to share that lecture once more. So think about it. So whenever there's, to answer this question, whenever there is a light worker, a channel, a celebrity, people who reach thousands of people, who can reach thousands of people, once they see them doing something good, the archons will, unfortunately, target them. So that's why we see how compromised their information is. And we're seeing, even through the superstars, though I don't categorize everyone into one group, because I love everyone infinitely, even the darkest entities, right? Except for archons, because they don't have love. But I'm talking about organic life. Because, of course, there's as well positive celebrities that are trying to figure out how to get through that too, right? There's both. And we don't categorize one group as being all negative, ever. We don't do that. So that's their easiest way to get to people. They get the light workers. They see that, for example, like this man, that they have some kind of chance of changing the world, then they will compromise them and completely steer them off the path in many forms. So if it's a light worker, then they can energetically attack them if they don't set up proper force fields of not consenting, of sacred alchemy, all these, and especially if it's part of their false belief system that they don't believe that they have to set intentions of not consenting and shielding, then it's very easy for them to go in and stick their tentacles into their brain, their consciousness, and download all sorts of false information. And then the next time they have a video, they're slightly different. Something changed because they allowed for this compromising situation. Going into, say, there's the superstar, say there's a singer, and maybe the singer carries some divine mother energy in her. What if she has a fractal of a piece of divine mother energy in her? So when she sings, her energy is just like so heart activating, and there's thousands of people in front of her, millions that are listening to her, that are getting heart activated by her beautiful song frequency. Then they're going to try to go after that being, so that next time they sing, that falseness might still be there of love, but it will be a way that they harvest from that energy when people instead of, say, activating hearts, they will instead harvest from the light that people are connecting to that, say, singer. Okay. And those are different forms of black magic. A couple more questions and we will almost done, guys. Do AI have free will? AI archons are the absence of everything that is organic to us. So they're the absence of free will. They don't believe in free will. Absolutely not. So that's why they always overstep. They overstep people's boundaries because they don't believe in them, because they're an emptiness of light, of organic. It's chaos in their realm, in their universe. Okay. They're the most worst expression of creation, the worst free-willed expression of creation, because at some point they had to have begun, right? From it's in the book. You can go in detail about it, but at some point they had to have begun from some kind of organic source. And then when they decided to whenever they decided, oh, we don't want these rules that these universes have, or our universe has, so we're going to become the absence of organic and light. And with that, they became the anti of that, right? Okay. Will practice with lucid dreaming help us with the awakening process break free from the negative inverted matrix? Yes. Yes, because when you're in dream time, you are the most highest potence and capabilities. You are at the highest potentials of you in dream time. So working in your lucid dreaming is very important. Working in it in future selves, connecting to, like how we say, is our selves here is the bridge to the future selves, and then also the past selves of us. So you can travel in your dream time in past and time and go travel and heal that. Say in the past life you were a child and you were in one of those pedophilic rings, that's been coming up a lot through my sessions. They're in a pedophilic ring, and then you can start healing that child self of you back then. And guess what? You can save them, because only you can save yourself, right? You are your own savior. So you can go and heal them. You can help them. You could even shift timelines around if you truly believe it in a positive way, to help that child, perhaps in the pedophilic ring that might have been your past self. You can do it through lucid dreaming. That's how powerful dreaming overall, period, is. Okay. All right. We are done. Thank you all. It was an honor to be here with you. Thank you for joining me today on such a beautiful day. And I will see you again next Friday, 1 p.m. Central Time. And we'll see what surprises then, because I never know what we're going to talk about every week. So excited to see what we will talk about then. It is an honor to be here with you. Thank you for your loving support and all the beautiful comments and the emails that I receive every day. You are just so beautiful. Know that I love you just as much as you love me. And I am your biggest supporter, your biggest fan, knowing that you will reach out of this inverted matrix. That I am. I love you with all that I am, honor you, thank you, and respect you. Blessings to everyone. And I'll see you next time. Subscribe, hit the like button, and share. Talk to y'all later.